Greetings guys, this is Rage again, back with another video. I do hope we're all having a good day. Today I figured I'd do the Arty Firetail, one of the staples of the faction lineup, and you'll see quite a few of these around FW. Mostly this fit, Arty, dual web. If you're doing autocannon Firetail Lowsec, you're doing it wrong in my opinion. But hey, everyone's like, you know, welcome to their own opinions and stuff, some are just wrong. Anyway, the Arty Firetail does really good things. I am currently rocking it with 3% to small projectiles and 3% to all damage types, which does definitely help, because basically the focus of this Firetail is alpha. It doesn't have that great DPS and tank, but its alpha is insane, man. We'll get like the occasional like 1k volley, and anything active tanked in frigate size is going to have a very hard problem dealing with that kind of alpha. I'm also running Exile with this and the Pyrolancia Dose 1, just for that extra little bit of tank and DPS. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can basically engage with this. Mostly you want to be going for active tanks. You can go for buffer tanks. The thing that the Firetail struggles with the most is its like actual tank. It's not that tanky for a faction frigate, so we need to mitigate damage in some form of way, whether keeping at range with our range control, or basically our small seg. Sometimes missiles won't apply fully to us, but even still, like most missile platforms are going to be quite a challenge. Especially stuff like Hookbills are a very hard fight for the Firetail. You can take them, of course, but I feel like it's like almost 50-50 as to whether you win or lose, depending on your hit RNG. That's another big thing with the Firetail is hit RNG. You really want those like wrecking hits, because like one wrecking hit and you're pretty much good. Those hits are pretty insane, man. Those like 1k alphas. But even without the wrecking hits and stuff, the Firetail still pulls, like it does a lot of work. But yeah, struggles a bit in tank. Great alpha, not a great overall DPS, but yeah. Anyway, enough about the mumbling, guys. Let's get on to the fights, shall we? Okay, for our first two fights, we have the Crucifier Navy issue. This first one is not what I was expecting. This is a weird dual rep Crucifier Navy issue. We're rocking a medium ANSI and a small ANSI armor rep. So I'm very surprised. You were expecting dual web beams or AB web beams TD or maybe pulses. These are more what I'd be akin to seeing, but this is a very off meta Crucifier Navy. And it does do very good work, man. This fight's very close. I have a fusion loaded. Had I known that this was a dual tank, I would have probably went in phase, but I had no idea. I was totally expecting this to be armor tanked. Yeah, basically we're just holding out, hoping that we get good hits. Hopefully we get good RNG hits, get wrecks, which would be ideal. I don't think there's anything else that I could have done in this fight to maybe improve it. Perhaps, yeah, nothing I can really think of. Since we have range control, since he has a single web. But regardless, this fight is still pretty down to the wire, but we do eventually take it. So nevertheless, GF, definitely not Crucifier I'd be expecting. This Crucifier next is a TD one. This is something I'd be more akin to seeing. And it's a bit of a weird one to fight. I didn't realize how powerful the TD on the Crucifier Navy was. So I do my default strat 7.2, fusion loaded. I see the TD, so I'm like, alright, I need to get a bit closer. I do 2.5k, pull myself a bit closer, because it's going to hurt me getting this close, like tracking wise, but I know he's often range disrupting me. And I end up pulling my keep at back to 5k to work my tracking. I see my range, 5.8k fall off. I'm like, Jesus. So I'm like, alright, I need to pull myself back to 2.5k. He's orbiting us at 2.5 whilst optimal range disrupting us, which is a right call, making this a very, very hard fight for us. This is not in a place that you want to be in a Firetail. Maybe perhaps if I was better manual pilot, we could have done this to maybe like get better hits. But nevertheless, doing this strat still sort of helps us, and it's so close, man. Down to the wire again, and nevertheless, GF Koto. Okay, this is the fight I'm angry at myself for. I make quite a few mistakes. Still works out well, but still some bad plays for me. So I keep this Punisher at 7.5k, expecting some form of bait to come in behind, which thankfully it does. So I see the Tormentor. I'm ready to like off-cycle my webs and scram on this guy, because I know this Punisher's going to take a while. It might be worth sticking on this Punisher. But basically I take off my webs, get him onto the Tormentor. I want to keep the Tormentor 7.5k, get into our optimal. And basically I'm hoping that this Tormentor is going to go down rapid. I don't overheat my guns here, which could have been a bit of a mistake. We do end up fixing this. Basically I want to nuke that Tormentor. I know there's probably another Tormentor that's going to come in. This this is good. So we need to nuke this Tormentor, then get rid of the other Tormentor, then we need to basically get out of range of the Punisher. That's my plan. Thankfully, the second Tormentor didn't notice me sent by. Nice name. It's a bit less skilled. I believe this guy's rocking T1 beams, which is good for us. Had he been T2 fit like the first Tormentor, it would have been a bit rough for us. But thankfully, due to the insane alpha, the DPS we're doing, we can make very short work of both the Tormentors. We're still getting very low amount of small anti charges. And basically, this is when the bad plays start to happen. Like, basically, I keep this Punisher at range. Get the webs back on him. Cap's, like, hurting significantly. And basically, I'm like, alright, I want to kill this Punisher. But, I keep on freaking out, especially since, I believe he's pulses. So I'm worried that it's going to use, like, Scorch or something. Honestly, if I kept him at this range, I think it would have been fine. We're taking some occasional hits. I double click away in space to basically like pull range, rep up a bit, and then maybe I'll come back. Either the Punisher leaves or I can get a kill, is my thinking. So I do this, yeah, get a little bit of reps back up, and then I'm looking to come back in. This Punisher doesn't seem like he's looking to leave. He does have, at one point end up deciding he wants to warp off, but not at this time. Like, this is good, right? I don't know what happens in the second part, but basically what ends up happening is, like, that's him trying to start to leave there. I should have got the webs and scram on him, but, like, the adrenaline is, like, so crazy right now. Just because of the little bout I had against the two Tormentors that I fail here. And one more volley, man. Why didn't I think I double-click in space to get away again? And, yeah, I didn't get the Punisher. Got it, man. But, yeah, nevertheless, that's a good GF against those three. Okay, here I have a couple of fights against Hookbills. This is a very, again, off-meta fit, which I believe is like a 2 medium antis. So basically, I always use phased against Hookbills. Sometimes it's better to use EM, but usually I feel like, especially going up against like those dual red fits, or just like maybe it's like a small anti, Hookbills, just so many Hookbills you can come across. And this is like one that I wasn't really accounting for. But you'll notice we're doing like huge volleys, man. Always expect it to be a very hard fight against a Hookbill and a Firetail. They're probably gonna give you a really good run for your money. Hookbills and real Comets in particular are probably the things you'll probably lose most to in a Firetail. They're worth fighting, of course, because you'll see it in the next coming fights that we do win and lose to them. So it's always like good fun, man. See if the RNG's on your side, but we lose to that Comet Hookbill, unfortunately. The second one's the Buffer Hookbill. This is probably my favorite Hookbill, and I would say this is probably the thing most in line to deal with the Firetail. We do relatively well against this fellow, actually, but if there's a Hookbill that's going to be... You'll also notice that I've just stayed at 0 for the majority of that fight. My shortcuts or whatever I was doing just wasn't working for me there. It's also factored into this fight, but yeah, this one, the TD Hookbill can also do bad things to us. I'd be actually relatively confident in fighting a TD Hookbill. I'd probably bring my keypad closer, or if he was looking like he shouldn't have been able to gathering for guns. But this next Hookbill is going Firetail. No, Hookbill. God damn it, I got it right the first time. It's a dual rep one. This is a very close fight. Very, very, very close. I have phase loaded and EM in the missiles hanging because I don't have Inferno. That may play the part, but again, this will show you like how close most of these Hookbill on Firetail fights are. Because the Firetail doesn't have much of a tank and it really relies on mitigating its damage some way. Whether it like keep at range, like the blaster range, or like yeah, basically just keep back. So you aren't really going to orbiting with the Arty Firetail, and basically the Hookbill is going to basically apply to everywhere, just because it's missiles and dual webs. But you'll see, this is a very close bad. We basically just need to, yeah, we get it. We need to have luck in our RNG, but I take this fight again, and you'll see how close this is, and we lose this one. So yeah, GF, for sure. Okay, a quick little fight against Ishkar. Assault frigates can be very dodgy in the Firetail, especially ones that can project well. I was actually quite surprised how well this went against the Ishkar, because I was expecting to take a lot more DPS from his drones. Which we do take damage, but if we can mitigate all the DPS from his guns, like his blasters, and kill his, just like tank his drones, we should be in a good spot. Was basically my plan. And that basically, like, what worked out for us. Like, I'd be confident in going up against something like an Enyo as well, despite them being able to project quite well with Null. but a lot of soft frigates, especially ones that can apply well, like a Jag or Hawk or something like that, would recommend taking. Or a Vengeance. But most turret AFs can give a bash. Try it. Okay, here's a fight against official fleet. This pilot does everything right, except he lets me get the dual webs on him. Basically, he does the right strat. Basically, if you're in the Plex and the official fleet and you can set up, especially in the dual web long point one, you basically want to orbit out like 13 and a half and make sure Firetail doesn't get his dual webs on you, because you'll see, I do some blundering, but as soon as I get the dual webs on him, and he doesn't pull range from the dual webs, is very bad for him. I'm not sure if he kept his like a default keep at like 12 or orbit 12 or something. But regardless of me getting my dual webs on him, we're still on a bit far fall off. About halfway fall off, because we have a 7.5k optimal, and we're hitting at about 18k fall off. So we're not doing full DPS here, so you'll see that this fight's still very close regardless. And GF, man. Okay, here I have a couple of fights against Comets. This first one's against a dual web blaster Comet. This should be very rough, but since we're faster than the Comet and we're dual webs ourselves, if we're quick on it and we pull range at the start before we take enough DPS and Void and Antimatter, we're in a good spot. And yeah, this is exactly what we do. Once we pull range like this, we're pretty much golden, unless the pilot ends up switching to null, in which case it can be a bit of a rougher time. But usually, by the time we switch to null and all that, we've kind of done enough DPS as it were, we've kind of secured it. But yeah, those dual web Comets, if you don't pull range quickly enough, you're in a very bad spot, especially something a bit slower. An active tank like this. But thankfully you pull range, and it's good for us. Now, this is a AB web Scram Comet. This shouldn't have been as close as what it was, but I highlight something that you should really consider. James is a good pilot here, and I believe he sticks with this whole fight with null. He also mentioned that he accidentally kept that range at the start instead of keeping approaching, which is bad for him. But don't stick to your old ways. Like, I normally keep my keep at 7.5k and expect it to do things for me. Null hits out about 7.5k, and I'm thinking, alright, since we're in optimal, DPS will pull through, but the crazy tank of a Comet, as well as like the slight grazings is getting with the null and the free drones. You'll notice that I started like a Fat Finger too. I almost click on unlock, keep at 8k to get completely out of its null range, so it might be worth keeping blaster bolts at 8k instead of 7.5. You'll notice how close this is. And this was because he basically kept that range at the start instead of approaching. So yeah, that's like a close one, but basically, maybe consider keeping yourself at 8k blaster bolts when you load null. Now this is a real Comet. I have no reason. I had a fight where I lost a real Comet, but the footage malfunctioned basically. You shouldn't win against a real Comet. This is a dual web real one. And basically the only reason I win this is because he's running Javelin, which has a 4.5k optimal instead of antimatter. But usually you're going to lose against real Comets, but nevertheless we win this one. Okay, this is the last way I have again for you. This is a Firetail versus Firetail. In this engagement, you basically want to prioritize getting locked first. Because if all things are equal, you guys start your reps first. It's basically whoever lands the hit first, if you get me. So, lock before you, like, pull your range or whatever, right? And basically then it basically comes down to hit RNG and who starts a rep off first. I start off immediately, expect that maybe if they volley through a reps, it's not too bad that we started that so early. It's the second cycle of your small anti will usually catch the second volley, if that makes sense, and you're not going to use usually all your small antis in that Firetail versus Firetail engagement. So it's not too bad starting your reps too soon. So as soon as that first volley, like you think's going to land, it's best to start it, if that makes sense. But usually it's hit RNG, and yeah. Okay guys, that's the fights I had for you guys today. The Firetail does do work, man. It's quite cheap actually. Mimitar currently tier 1 just now, so it may end up going in price just because Mimitar LP might be in lack of supply. I doubt it though. But usually Firetails you can fit pretty cheap, especially since you don't need like say like in Hookbill you probably need like a faction medium shield extender or something. It's mostly just like T1, T2 fit. Very cheap, man. Especially if you like don't. I do recommend running those implants actually. The 3% to the small, like, specific gun is really cheap. I think it's, like, sub 5 mil. So that's always recommended. The 3% to all turret damage can be a bit pricey. I think that's what, fair 820 within 30-20 millish. I'm kind of off with my implant pricing, so I can definitely see why you wouldn't want that. Maybe do a 1% to all target damages if you wished, or just not run implants yourself. Exile and Pyrantia is very helpful. I would also recommend, maybe if you wished, I don't run it, you could run a drop booster for extra tracking, but I feel I get really bad luck. And then it ends up cancelling out my Exile all the time, so you can get like a negative repair on the drop booster, so I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a hindrance, but that's something else you can run if you want to go like super try hard. But yeah, anyway guys, like, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, always like enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Like, it always humbles me when you guys watch my videos. Yeah, do take care, boys.